G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Bitcoin video. You're going to have to excuse the bad green screening today. I'm having some lighting technical difficulties, whatever you want to call them. And yeah, so there's a bit of a green illumination around me. But, you know, I promise I'm not an alien, I'm not from another planet. I look a bit like an alien today, but it's fine, it's all good. We're back into another Bitcoin video, and we're just going to quickly analyze what's happened briefly in the last 24 hours of short-term price action, what we need to be seeing, and also what's happened in the S&P 500 in its relation to Bitcoin as well. So quick video update, not too much to discuss, just going to briefly dive into it. Let's get straight into it, guys. Let's start out with the short-term charts. 4-hourly chart on Bitcoin. Actually, let's start out just by the kind of recapping what we've talked about in the past here. Top of the range on Bitcoin is 25,200. 25,200 is the top of the range since June 2022. It's also a major resistance zone as determined by the weekly chart with the 200-week SMA and 50-week SMA. I think everyone in the market knows at this point who's been paying attention that 25.2K is a critical level. I have identified 25.2K as a no trade zone. I've actually identified this entire price region between around 23.8K, which is the nearest support, and 25.2K. As a no trade zone. I don't think you should be taking any longs on Bitcoin until we close a weekly candle above 25.2K, which would be a weekly candle above the 200-week SMA and the 50-week SMA. At that point, we would enter a range on the volume profile that has no critical historical resistance, and so we should be able to zoom upwards to 28.6K if we close that weekly above 25.2. That's basically what I've discussed in the last 24 hours. The last couple of videos I've discussed that quite extensively. I also don't think, and this is where people might get caught off guard, I also don't think we should be taking short positions. Even though we're at resistance, very strong resistance, I don't think we should be taking shorts. And the reason being is because the order books on Bitcoin, which we looked into yesterday's video, you can check it out. The order books on Bitcoin and the longs to short ratio on Bitcoin do indicate a reasonable probability of a scam wick liquidation pump to the upside that will flush out all of your short positions, and then the price will come right back down and you'll be mad as hell. That is basically what the on-chain data at this point is suggesting. Not the on-chain data specifically, but more like the order books and more like their longs versus shorts. That's what that is suggesting to a reasonable probability. So I think that short positions, although logical, being at resistance and being a very strong resistance, are slightly more risky as made by the fact that we could see a liquidation wick to the upside. Perhaps you could just you could risk it. It's not guaranteed we see a liquidation wick, and liquidation wicks and speculating about whether we see them or not is very hypothetical. It's almost blind speculation, but it's based on minimal data. So I mean, if you really wanted to, you could take a short position with the stop loss above 25.2K, and you would be justified to a certain extent in doing that. I'm just personally not going to risk anything like that at this point in time. I don't see the point. I'd rather wait until we get a clear move. And what am I looking at for a clear move? Well, I'll tell you right now. As I said before, a 25.2K close, above 25.2K on the weekly chart would be a clear upside move. That's when you'd be taking longs. And when you'd be taking shorts, well, that's a bit more up to debate. Now, look, you could be taking shorts. This is the 4-hourly chart, by the way. You could be taking shorts if we break down from this ascending triangle formation. I personally wouldn't, because I understand that the breakdown from this ascending triangle formation would not actually bring us below 23.8K. I would personally be looking for shorts if we break below 23.8K. And even more specifically, if you want to be more conservative about it, you could actually be waiting for a breakdown of this first upper yellow support line, which actually supported the price on Bitcoin throughout the entirety of late January and the entirety of early February. That could be a hypothetical line we could be holding for support to do something like that. So maybe you'd wait for a breakdown of that line as well. Just throwing around some ideas here. We'll look into this closer when it actually does occur. At this point, I want to keep the analysis brief because I'm trying to make the overall point that I think this is a no man's land. I think this is a no trade zone. And so I'm not going to get too much into predictions. But what I would say is this: Bitcoin is holding up pretty well. And there are theories to be made here. There is speculation to be had that perhaps we'll see something like we saw in 2019. This is the 2019 daily chart. And you can see in 2019, after the bear market bottom, right? We found the bottom and we went upwards. We consolidated at resistance. And without any real correction, we just broke that resistance to the upside. Then we did it again. We consolidated again at resistance, and without any real correction, we broke that to the upside as well. This goes to show, now obviously I'm just making an observation here, but it goes to show that when bear markets end, and the bear market has, ended in my opinion, the bear market in a traditional sense of downwards price action has ended in my opinion. We're still technically in a bearish market. But the bottom is in, and when the bottom is in, historically speaking with Bitcoin, you see these dramatic move upwards dramatic moves upwards that look like manipulation and kind of look like they're ignoring TA, but it's just part of the cycle. And so if we were to just break to the upside here, regardless of what the TA says, it would make sense because we've done it before. And it would make sense because we've done it actually 2 times before. We did it in the 2015, right? And we did it in the 2019. Okay, so we've done this before. And these moves to the upside, regardless of the resistance and powering through resistance and just, moving through it like it's nothing, it's actually to an extent from a cyclical perspective to be expected. So I wouldn't be overly surprised if Bitcoin just breaks upwards here. I'm not making a prediction. It's hard to make a prediction because as an analyst, you have to trust the TA. And the TA is more bearish at this point for short term. But I'm just understanding from a cyclical perspective as well, but it wouldn't surprise me. As for longer term, I can obviously make predictions. My predictions for long term very clear. I think the bottom's in. I think Bitcoin's, starting off a new cycle for sure. I think after the halving next year, we will see another bull market. That's just how it works. End of 2024 and the entirety of 2025 will be bull market in my opinion. Until then, slow accumulation, slow upside price action on a logarithmic scale. That's what I'm kind of looking at. What I would like to look at as well, just briefly in this video update here, is the fact that the S&P 500 has actually broken out from a descending wedge formation. That happened a while ago, but we've seen a correction. We've seen a pretty substantial correction over the last week or so, and I just want to say that Bitcoin's holding up very well in wake of that correction, and this just further goes to confirm points I've been making over and over and over again for months now, that I don't think the S&P 500 will drag down Bitcoin. If the S&P 500 crashes more, the S&P 500 goes down to new lows, and then the NASDAQ does as well, all that kind of stuff, I really don't think Bitcoin has to. I think that Bitcoin is much more connected, reverse correlated to the DXY rather than the markets, traditional markets, and I think that Bitcoin in a traditional recession type scenario will follow something like gold, and gold doesn't necessarily go downwards too much in a recession. And so that's my opinion on that. And I think, us seeing some deviation here while the S&P 500 is correcting quite sharply and Bitcoin's literally maintaining the exact same level it's been holding for the last week. In fact, moving upwards, if we're looking at when that correction started on the S&P, it started on the 1st of February. Bitcoin's moved upwards, quite significantly from the 1st of February. It's moved upwards like 2,000 USD. So that's good deviation there. It's healthy deviation because obviously I'm not particularly bullish on the S&P. And so we need to be seeing deviation there and we're starting to see it. The correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P 500 has dropped significantly. I mean, we looked at this about a month ago. We made a video about it. We said that, and we looked at some charts to discuss it. Since from August to January 2023, it might have changed slightly from then because it's been about a month now since I've looked into it. But from August to January 2023, the correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P 500 actually dropped from 0.7%, from 0.7 as a decimal place to 0.3 as a decimal place. So it more than halved, which is very good. It's very good for us. We want to see that deviation. It's healthy deviation. So that's what I want to discuss in this video, guys. Just a brief update here. And ultimately, I'm going to end the video there. I just want to quickly give a quick shout out. Check out the VIP group. We trade altcoins in the VIP group. You can find a link in the pinned comment description. Check out the BitGet exchange as well. It's my favorite exchange. We've got an exclusive promotion with the Wolves Crypto YouTube channel right now. If you sign up to the exchange, you trade using my referral link. After you make your first trade, you'll get a free 15 USDT and a free 15 BGB in your account. 5 times lower fees than Binance. Again, 15% trading discount using my referral links to do that. And then also, if you want to learn how to trade, you can check out the Crypto Academy courses. We've got a Become a Trader course in there that teaches people how to trade in a university-style format. So do all of that stuff in the pinned comment description, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Cheers.